Everyone, it's Nicole, and I have another layout using the July Valley High Studio Calico kit. It is the 20th layout using this kit, and it took me 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I'm down to my scraps, and I want to cut them 1 inch by 2.5 inch. So what I did was I just went to my scraps of cardstock. I cut down 2 pieces of cardstock, about 10.5 by 2.5, and I'm going to glue my strips onto that so that it makes it easier to manipulate once it's all done, because I also want to sew it down. And I like to use my scraps that way. When I get down to a kit that I really love the pattern papers, I like to use as much of the pattern paper as I possibly can, because I know once I put that kit away, the embellishments I'll use again, but I find the pattern papers, they just get put away and not used again. So I like to make sure, I like to challenge myself every month to see how many, pages I can make just using scraps. And then I feel like by the time I put the kit away and all I have is a few pieces of papers, like literally scraps, I feel good that, I got my money's worth kind of thing. So this one here, I'm going to make sort of a banner, I guess, at the top and the bottom of the layout, and it's going to just kind of showcase all the different pattern papers. And like I said, the strips are all 1 by 2.5, and I could have just made a strip either at the top or at the bottom, and it would have been great too, but I just want to do one at the top, one at the bottom, and then my whole layout with the embellishments and stuff is all in the center of the page. Now I'm going to quickly, what I was thinking when I first started this was I want to put a 1/2 inch of pattern paper on either side, so that, because right now the way I did it was it's 1 inch all the way down, and when I get at the end it's a 1/2 inch. And the same thing with the bottom one, but what I ended up doing was I put a 1/2 inch on one side, a 1/2 inch on the other, because I did all this work and then I forget that I did it, and then I just glue it naturally, just flush with the end instead of making it hang over. And so by the time I get to the end, it's like there's no way I'm going to restart all that, so I just kind of went with it. So now I'm just kind of arranging the pattern papers to see how I like them. I'm trying to put colors next to each other that coordinate with the pattern paper next to it. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just basically picking everything that it's almost, the first thing that I grab. So it looks like I went through the whole thing that I was going to do 1/2 and 1/2, and then once I start gluing it down, I just totally forget. But it still worked out. I'll just have to keep that in mind for next time, try to follow through with what you had wanted to do. Now, once I have all those strips kind of figured out, excuse me, where I want them, then I'm just going to take, I believe it's going to be my this to that dot adhesive, and start gluing them down. So you can see, like, when I start gluing them, or maybe I did. And anyway, I think I didn't even bother with it. I just kind of went with it, and then at the end I just cut a piece off. And then I'm going to trim anything that hangs over. I guess I did, and it just didn't work out. So my planning didn't work. Even though I had measured it, it just didn't work out. Like I said, all I did was I put 1/2 inch on one side, 1/2 on the other, and it just looks like it was meant that way. So it took a few minutes just to get those all glued in the row. While I'm finishing that up, I just want to remind you that every video that I put up, I have a playlist and I divide it in between the playlists. So if you're new to my channel and if you want to see a certain kit, you can go to that playlist and all the videos that I made for that kit are in that playlist. But also, whether or not you subscribe to Studio Calico or not, it really doesn't matter because you can, exchange the papers and exchange the embellishments and just keep the design, the design and go from there. It doesn't have to be the exact same papers or anything like that. So I just showed you that I had used my sewing machine and I just sewed at the top and the bottom of each piece of pattern paper. And what I'm doing is I took X amount of pictures for my December daily, for our, daily stuff that we're doing in December. And whatever I can't get to fit in my December daily, right away, I put it next to me and it's going to be the next pictures that I'm going to scrap. So that way, I'm not putting those pictures away and they don't get scrapped for, X amount of months or years or whatever the case may be. So I had a strip of that green paper from Kezi Art and it fit perfectly as a mat for that photo. So I'm just going to lay it directly on the page. I had a piece of that heart paper left, but it wasn't big enough. So I had another strip and I just kind of put the pattern paper. I just realigned the hearts and it worked out perfect. And it looks like one sheet of pattern paper. And then the back side of that is a writing paper. So I just flipped it over and I'm going to use that as my journaling block. So once I had those strips all down, the rest of the layout kind of went together fairly quickly because there was only X amount of spots that I could actually set everything up or around. Okay, and sorry if my voice is like really weird and it seems like I'm having trouble talking. My son is in a hockey tournament this weekend, so we've been at the hockey rink a big part of the day today. And I'm, a mom that encourages to go, go, go. So my voice is almost gone. And so we have a game tomorrow and they've done pretty good up to now. So hopefully we keep going into the finals. So I took out a doily. I cut it in half, but I'm only going to use the half of it. I stuck it in behind my journaling. I had a piece of that striped blue and red paper left. I stuck that in behind there. Basically, the size that my scraps are, I'm just kind of using them as I can on my layout. So this is the way my camera is set up to film. So basically, I just want to document the way that my filming setup is. And because you never know, 2 years from now, it could be totally different, or even 6 months from now. So I just want to document that. And where I had taken a picture for December Daily, I thought it was, like I said, great to get it scrapped now and not put the photo away and, see it a few months or years from now and then wonder why I didn't scrapbook. So I decided to use those stickers that we got in last month's kit and also some October Afternoon. They're called Sherbert. They're one of my favorite letters right now to use from October Afternoon. And I'm looking for some flares to use on this page. It's at the point now that even the stuff that I pulled aside to use with the kit, I'm kind of almost over it. I want to try to find some different things because I've picked over quite a bit to use on these layouts. So I just want different stuff. And I decided that for the August kit, I'm just going to keep the same bucket and try to use a little bit more out of it, because the August kit is stocked up. Like, it's full of embellishments. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to get started. It's got all kinds of layering possibilities. It's got enamel dots. It's got buttons. I can't wait. Anyway, that's my next kit. So I'm really excited to get going. So now I'm going through my stickers, my embellishments. I'm finding anything that is the right color, and I'm just sticking it or throwing it in the middle of the page and just building as many embellishments as I possibly can. I still try to keep in mind, am I going to have 3 embellishment spots or just 1 embellishment spot, and then go from there. Now this time around, I'm going to have 3 of them, and sort of a little small one right next to the word filming. I'm going to have another one at the bottom left of the photo, and then the bigger one is going to be the bottom right of that journaling spot. So between those, now I know in my head that's what I want to do, because I don't want to put anything on top of that pattern paper. I want to keep all my stuff contained within that block where the photos are. And then I was trying to, figure out where I could put my embellishments so that the photo would sort of be, it doesn't mean that the whole photo is in the middle, but you're going to see where I put my embellishments. The photo is in the middle of those 3 embellishments, or part of the photo is. And if you're wondering, if you see when you look at my photos, the blue thing that's on my tripod, it's actually ankle weights, and they're 5 pounds each. And the reason I had to put those on was for a couple of reasons. Because I keep my camera on there all the time, and I bought a USB that I can just plug it into my computer. And sometimes when I would kind of try to get that cord out of the way, because if I don't pull it out of the way, it's going to be in the video. The tripod actually fell once and crashed on my hand, and I had this wicked bruise on my hand. But also, if I would forget to shut my door, the cats would come in, and I found my camera a couple times on the floor. So this, at least there's 10 pounds on that tripod, so it's way more like solid, and I don't have to worry about it as much. I still close my door. I still try to think to do that, to shut the door, but I don't have to worry as much, and I worry less about injuries too, because it used to tip on me all the time. So now it looks like I have a nice little pile of embellishments right there in the center of the page. And now I'm going to, when I come back, I'm going to start moving everything around. And a lot of times if I feel a little burnout, this is when I would stop the camera and walk away and come back like maybe half an hour later, an hour later. And then I have a different perspective on it. Now I glued couple of pieces of that washi tape. That is my favorite washi tape, and I don't even know who makes it. I don't remember. And I'm going to glue the word filming right underneath. And then I'm going to put the rest of my title using the October Afternoon Sherbert letters. And then right underneath that is where I'm going to put my journaling. Now lately I've had quite a few layouts that by the time I finish, the decorating and everything, I was like, oh, there's no room to journal, because I get so involved with the prettiness of everything. And some scrapbook pages. Okay, so the recording had stopped, so I had to go over a few minutes. Not too bad though. And so now I'm ready to start moving all the embellishments that I picked out and move it between the 3 embellishment cluster. I'm going to have one next to filming, one at the bottom right, and then right there underneath the photo. So the one underneath the photo, I have a flare that says XOXO, a little sticker that says grateful, a little puffy sticker that's a heart, some washi tape, and a banner. And then the one right next to filming has a flare that says the story, and then best, a little sticker, a puffy heart, and a couple of enamel dots. And then the bigger cluster has a sticker from, or 3 stickers from the Amy Tangerine book. One of them says just part of the routine, because for me now, scrapbooking with the camera is just part of my routine. Like this is process video 155, and since last February, I have not done one layout that I didn't film. So for me now, this is part of the routine. And then I had this little leaf that I stuck in behind there that came from the Amy Tangerine stickers too. There was a little girl, and I'm going to stick her right on top of the sticker that says just part of the routine. And the other flare is a nice little camera with a heart, and also a little word sticker that says happy. And on the journaling spot, because I don't remember if I got cut off before or after, but I also put one of my favorite washi tape at the top and the bottom of that journaling spot. And now that I divided, and you can tell I still have some left over on the side, but I'm okay with that because I used up a lot of embellishments right here in the center of all of this. Or not in the center, but on this page, I've used a lot of embellishments. So I've added some foam, some foam tape to some embellishments, and the foam tape is from Scotch 3M. I got it at Custom Crops. I think it was around $36, $33. And I'm going to use my Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive, and I'm going to glue it down, glue everything that I can glue down. And I was so happy today. I went to Michael's and I had my husband and my son, and it was a 50% off coupon. And they finally had some of that Scotch Quick Dry, and it was hidden. I couldn't believe it. So we each bought a bottle. So I have 3 more of those bottles. So I love it. Now I have 3 extra bottles because I hate running out of that glue. And for us here in Canada to order it online, the shipping is ridiculous. So I just wait for Michael's to have it, and then I buy 3 or 4 of them. So I might go again tomorrow and maybe grab a couple more just to make sure that I have enough. Because I think as long as they're not open, they'll probably last, a couple years. And I go through one maybe every 6 months or so. So I was trying to use that big chipboard heart, and that's when I decided that I needed something that was a little smaller. So I went and got those Amy Tangerine puffy stickers, and I'm going to put a couple of little hearts. And the reason I wanted the hearts was because the flare at the bigger embellishment has a little heart in the center, so I was able to bring that heart motif in more than one area. That way I was able to put it in 3 areas. Now I'm going to look for which enamel dots that I'm going to use. And I'm going to choose like a deeper pink and a light pink. And I'm going to stick it in the 3 different embellishments. Another thing that I got to do today also was go to a fabric store, and I got some good thread for my sewing machine. So I'm anxious to get that started, and I got a few new needles too to try, to see if that's going to help. So I'm still looking to find the right shade of pink. And what I do is I keep my enamel dots in the original packaging until I have it open. And once it's open, I just have a little box that's right next to my desk, and I just keep all the enamel dots in there, and I don't bother putting them back in the packaging because it's just too much work. So now I'm going to cover the photo. I'm going to take out a couple of glimmer glaze, and It's a light pink and a dark pink. And the difference between the Glimmer Glaze and the Mr. Huey is it doesn't soak in the paper. It sits on top of the paper and it actually dries on slick surfaces. So it's like a slick marker. So even if some of it, lands on one of the flares, it's still going to dry. It's not going to rub off. And it sits on top of the pattern paper, so it actually has little bumps. When you're done, it doesn't soak in the cardstock. So sometimes I like the look that it's soaked in, and other times I'd prefer the look that, the dots just look like they're sitting on top of the pattern paper. So now I'm going to show you a few close-ups of each embellishment cluster, and also a close-up of the top little banner that I sewed. And that's it. The page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.